Hi, you guys. Welcome back to the Talk Shop Live. You Can't Clip My Wings segment. And as you know, today is Social Saturday, right? I'm Coach Celeta here and definitely want to spend some good time with you guys. I hope you paid attention to what the description box has in it. We're going to talk about our Legacy Edition wrap dresses. We're going to talk about the new journal that's coming out. It's called the Legacy Liftoff Journal. Talk a little bit about that. Just kind of give you an update on where I'm at on it. We're going to talk also about our first Monday in January, which is our next webinar that's coming up. I will be getting out my invitations next week. Okay. Today is the 20th, which is crazy, but today is the 20th of December. In 5 days, I know you guys are going to be with the family, enjoying yourselves. And then several days after, you're going to be the 1st of January. So we have a lot going on coming in. Last week, we talked Wednesday, I think that was Wednesday night. We talked about the friendship checklist. If you guys want a copy of that friendship checklist, please let me know and I will get it to you. Um, I can definitely get it to you. So we're going to talk a little bit about those things, and I'm going to hit on something too, and I put it in the description box. I want to talk about domestic violence during the holidays. You know, we talk about domestic violence a lot because to me, it's a near and dear thing to me, and I'll tell you why. It's near and dear thing to me because of what I've witnessed in my life dealing with domestic violence and volunteering in different organizations that dealt with domestic violence. So I'm finding it very important that we have this conversation. We got Christmas coming up. I know we didn't talk about it Thanksgiving, which we should have, but we didn't. But that's all right. That's all right. We can talk about it now. And it came to me earlier because I said, you know what, it's something that we really haven't kind of hit on is domestic violence in relationships during the holidays. Now, I don't know. I know what they used to tell us in the military. Like we used to have these big safety meetings, right? And during the summertime, one of the meetings on one of the subject matters that we talked about was domestic violence in the summertime. In some of the scenarios that the trainer was telling us or giving us, very much so kind of I got it, because we were younger. So, we're like, what are you talking about? That's violent. We didn't realize that it's a very prevalent thing, especially in the military. A lot of women are, and a lot of men. Let's not leave out our men. Our men are just as much abused as the women are when it comes to domestic violence. So they're just doing it quietly. They just, it's shame in them revealing that they're being beaten up. Um, and it's sad that it's that way, but it's definitely that way for real. So I want to get into a little bit of that, and I want to kind of leave you guys with something. I want you to just some things that we can think about when it comes to that. So let us go ahead and get rolling. Okay. Oh, and another thing I want to let you guys know is I'm excited. We have another addition to ways that we can discuss things. I am working on getting Rooted and Rising radio set up. Okay. Um, I'm hopefully, everything works out and we'll get Rooted and Rising ready to roll. I'm excited. It's been a while since I've had our own radio station online. It's been a minute. So I'm kind of getting used to having to move around things and how to learn how to do different things. So it might take me a minute or two to get it going. I wanted to have it ready. Hello, Miss Thomas. I wanted to have it ready for tomorrow, but I got my own tweaks. It's not the radio station itself that's a problem, it's me. I have to learn the things that I used to do. I mean, I used to do this with my eyes closed, right? But I've gotten out of the sync of things. So now I'm having to learn it all over again. I'm kind of beating myself up because I wanted to be ready, but I wanted to be ready. Okay, let me say that again. I wanted to be ready, and I want to be ready to kind of let it out there. But it's coming. The name of the radio station is called Rooted and Rising Radio, and it's about women and for women. Let me say it like that. This is giving the voice or the sound of women rising. This is what it's going to show or to be able to represent. There's going to be interviews. You're going to do all of 9 yards. I'm also going to bring up some archives of my other shows that were women oriented shows. So I'll be bringing those up. I'm going to make sure you guys can hear some. I was listening to one of my old shows, and it's just so weird that I have been talking this talk for a long time. Let me say that. When I went back and listened to some of my shows I'm uploading into the system, right? I'm like, man, I have been talking this talk for a long time. I mean, wow. So I'm kind of happy. So and because you guys didn't know me back then, you'll hear that the same, well, some people might say rhetoric, right? I'm going to definitely be bringing all that back. I'm going to have a whole time. I need to call it a time capsule of old shows, and you can hear a lot of things. You can hear some interviews with some interesting people. So I'm telling you guys to set up a whole radio station. It's awesome online, but it's also a lot of work. I was blessed with one of my radio stations that I did. I literally kind of reached out to people. If you have any shows that you would like to get them simulcast or syndicated on our radio station, watched them. I had about 5 or 6 shows, 5 or 6 different people that literally their shows played on our shows, on our radio station. Without a doubt, they loved it. I said, if you have any older shows that you want to share some great stuff with, and I just put it out there, and they literally said, sure, we'll send you. They'll send me to their website or where they got the information, where they store the information, and I uploaded it. They all had their own time slots, the whole 9 yards. So let me tell you something. I enjoy doing that. And I was like, you know what? If I don't do anything else, I need to get my radio station back up. So the new radio station is going to be called Rooted and Rising Radio, right? So I wanted to get that out. I'm happy that I finally got it out because see, I told you guys when I'm quiet, I'm busy. I'm creating in my head and I'm creating on this computer. So yeah, so I got that going. Um, so let I just wanted to let you know that. So let's get into. I want to definitely get into. As you know, like I was telling you guys about the wrap dresses, we still have the December sale going on. If you buy the dress by itself, it's $59. If you buy it in a bundle, that's the dress, an affirmation card, a Start Healthy magazine to go with that. And there is going to be a digital downloadable of one of our journals. Okay, that's going to go in there. So that little bundle is like $89. And guys, a 1 ounce jar of our facial cleanser. Okay, also go in there. This is a $35 value. So you can get all of that for $89. I'll get as soon as you order what dress you want, I'll definitely put your order in and get it to you. And I put everything together and get it out to you as soon as possible. As you know, this is the peak season. I told you guys this is the peak season around this time. I know you would love to have it by Christmas or before Christmas. Well, that's not going to happen. I'm just going to be honest with you. It's too late. Today was the last day for everything to get in before Christmas, and I should have kind of told you this before, but I forgot, and I apologize for that. But if it doesn't matter, because I mean, you got New Year's coming up, you got several other holidays coming up, so it doesn't have. You have Valentine's Day if you celebrate that. You want to keep dressed for Valentine's Day. Hey, you can order for Valentine's Day. I know February is a long time away, but you can order then. I mean, the thing is, I'm going to probably permanently leave the $59 on there for the dress itself. I'm probably not going to change it unless I'm going to be doing a massive sale. That would be a different story. But yes, also our digital download December. If you go on the website, you can't clip my links, which I didn't put in the description box. If you go in there and you go into the shop, you will see that I have most of my digital download material all on sale for the month of December. So if you want to get that, you can. And I told you earlier that I'm working on our journal. It is going to be close to about 200 pages. Okay. And it's also going to be about you writing and answering different questions in it. Okay. So these are going to be fillable pages in this journal that's coming up. And it's called the Legacy Liftoff Journal. Okay. So I'm kind of getting all that together. That journal ain't no joke, trying to put it together the way that I'm doing it now. I try not to make things complicated, but if I want what I need out of it, I got to do that, right? So I'm working on that, getting that prepared. So since we've already I hope you guys are still doing your skincare regimen. I'm definitely still doing mine. And this is the reason why I keep both of these sitting here on my desk, because I get to them right. I got one jar in the bathroom that I keep in the bathroom because sometimes I do my cleansing in the shower. So I'll cleanse my face in the shower, and when I get out and I pat it dry and do what I need to do, then I'll go ahead and come in here while I'm doing all my things in here, and I'll go ahead and put the hyaluronic, the hyaluronic acid uh, lotion on my face. Lotion. I meant to say facial cream on my face. And I usually try to put it on prior to me putting on any makeup if I do wear makeup. So we still have those. If you want to purchase this set, okay, the set is 55. If you get one at a time, it's 35. Okay. So it's $5 off. I think I've had it like that for a minute. So it's $5 off for both of those. I mean, yeah, for the set. If you get it in combo, and if you get it separate, they're 35. Now I might put them back on sale again. There's a possibility I could put those back on sale again. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started talking about the main thing we came here to talk about. All right, so we're going to be talking about today domestic violence during the holidays, right? So let's talk about, why do you think domestic violence increases during the holidays? What do you think can be the reason why it does that during the holidays? Because like I said earlier, I was telling you about, I didn't even finish telling you because I started talking about 5 different things. See, that's what's going on in my head. So I said when we were in the military during the summertime, we would have these safety briefings. And the reason why we had it during that time is because that's when domestic violence seems to increase during the summer. And one of the scenarios the trainer was giving us, he was telling us that there are times when there's a lot of pressure in the family, there's a lot going on. The kids are home for the summer, right? If mom's a stay-at-home mom's going to be at home. So he wants to come home to a quiet home or whatever, and it might be a lot of stuff going on. One of the things was, he was talking about the idea that, wives, I don't know why he gave this scenario, but this is what he said. He said, wives are outside, drinking or having a good time with their friends, and it's the way she's dressing. She comes out with a halter top on and her little shorts on, and daddy might not like that. So he's drinking a little bit, Everybody's sitting around drinking beer. And the more he's looking, the more he's watching everybody else looking. And before you know it, it's set off. Now, that's what he said. I don't know. But that's what he said starts a lot of these domestic violence fights. Um, that was his scenario. But I think it was already there. It just takes certain things that are trigger it. Now, so why do you think around the holidays, if we're talking about summertime, why do you think around the holidays? Do you think it's because of a lot of stress? Um, Now, just imagine during 2020 when we had that big lockdown. Remember, we were all locked down. I kind of figured that was an experiment. I'm just sorry. I'm just telling you. Do you feel that that was a time when we that domestic violence probably increased around that time? Do you believe that? I'm not sure. I'm not sure because I didn't think about it then, but maybe it did. Well, around the holidays, um, one of the things we know is finances. And because we feel the need to spend money, um, it creates pressure in the home. We can talk about our jobs. Sometimes there's a possibility that, how do you say that? We're having pressures at job because there's deadlines that have to be made, right? Just before the holidays, everything, everybody shuts down during the holidays. So you have pressure on the job, but the pressure was probably already there. It just increases during the time of the holidays, right? Um, Another thing is when we have to sit down with the family, the kids, and the honey. I'm using it as a man being the person, and tell her, well, I'm not going to be able to do this Christmas because this has to be taken care of and this has to be taken care of. And we were not able to take care of it last month, but we have to do it this month or else something else is going to be a problem. That could be another reason. Okay. Didn't I said it earlier about the scenario, but I didn't think about it on the lines of this too. This is also around the time when more drinking is done. Now, remember I told you guys how why I don't like drinking? I kind of cut all of that out. And I said that for a reason. I said that for a reason because I know how evil alcohol can be. I had an alcoholic stepfather. So I know how evil it can be. And I know the dangers in it. Okay. So that's when we go to parties and we drink and we have a good time. Um, and so when that happens, you know, we start bringing up things, and this is both. This is male and female. Start bringing up things that's going on in the household, and some people do not know how to handle their liquor. So because they don't know how to handle their liquor, they say things and they do things that are sometimes inappropriate, right? At the wrong time. Okay, so we're dealing with that. Um, when during the how okay, so also let's look at it from this standpoint. Um, we're all off, right? Mom's off, dad's off, the kids off, everybody's at home, right? And that's something y'all don't do all the time, right? Because everybody's doing this. Little Johnny's at soccer. Little Sue is at ballerina practice, and mom has to go get this, and mom's at work. You got to call to get it. You got a babysitter, daycare, so everybody's all, doing a lot of things. So we get into that routine of nobody ever just being around, right? Then here comes the holidays, and oh boy, everybody's at home. Everybody is still trying to get used to everybody being at home. So there's a lot of stuff going on there, right? So we're dealing with that. So that's another scenario to think of. Okay. Another scenario to think about. Let's think about this scenario. Okay. Another scenario to look at is um, these perfect holidays. Yeah, yeah. You know, the kind with the beautiful tree and the nice home and the whole 9 yards. And I'm putting this up and I got to put that, all the pressures of trying to have this wonderful holiday. Because we only get the chance to do it once a year. I've heard a lot of women say, I love Christmas. I cannot wait till it happens. I wait till the end of the year. I cannot. Oh, and stressed out about to blow the top because she has to have this perfect holiday. Or he has to, because men are the same way, has to have this perfect holiday, you know? So that can cause the, like, okay, so let's put it in a pressure cooker. I just named financial, job stress, unmet expectations, right? Being closed and enclosed, substance, over consuming alcohol and drugs, right? Uh, and you're forced to be together with somebody. And now we're talking about the perfect holiday. Oh, I have to have this. I don't do holidays anymore. I stopped doing holidays a long time ago when I realized that for what, right? Spend all that money for what? Okay, let me tell you what happens for us in our home. My husband's birthday is January, right? My birthday is February. You guys know Valentine's Day is February. My birthday is 2 days after Valentine's Day. Then my son's birthday. No, hold up. Let me get to my mom's birthday. My mom's birthday is also in the month of February. My older sister's birthday is in the month of February. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And my son's birthday is on the same day as mine in March. Do you think I'm about to spend? And my mom's gone, so I don't. I'm not. I'm just saying these are our birthdays. This is how close. And then I have a nephew birthday. My sister's birthday is February the 15th. Mine's the 16th, and my nephew's birthday is 17th. My son's birthday is the 16th of March, right behind mine. Do you really think? Hello? Do you really think we're gonna spend that kind of money? No. And again, I don't have any grandchildren. My son's grown. He doesn't have any kids. No wife. No none of that. So I don't leave. I don't invite myself. Matter of fact, my girlfriend, the one I was telling you guys about, my friendship we were talking about, the example, she invited me for a Christmas party which they had last Saturday. I knew I wasn't going. And she knew she invited me because usually we did back in the day, but we don't do that anymore. We just don't. I don't have a need to do all that. I don't. I can buy, I buy gifts all the time. So it's no need for me to do that then. And I know it's more to it. It's family and all that. I get that. I get that. But we don't do it. We don't do it. So I don't worry too much about holidays. I don't get all excited about holidays. And I think overall, I think people have changed their mindset about holidays. And I'm hearing more that people are not doing them as much as they used to. Now, I'm just saying people I've talked to when I have these discussions. A lot of people just don't do them anymore. It is stressful. It is a headache. And it is certain type of expectations you're expecting during these holidays. And I don't have to see when you learn to take the stress out of your life, you're going to pick up on things that you normally do all the time that really brought all the stress in you and on you. You're going to pick those to say, no, I'm no longer going to do this because it causes stress. And anybody who does not understand that, I'm sorry, but I'm not doing it anymore. Okay? Think about it from that standpoint. If you think that it causes stress and strife in your family, figure out another way to do it. Figure out another way to do it. Okay? Um, okay. So another thing we talk about, this is also a time for like grief. And around this time, a lot of loved ones are gone, right? So this also conjures up memories, right? And you're having to deal with house full of people, that perfect holiday. Honey's drinking a little bit than he needs to or she needs to, right? And then there's a death somewhere in the midst of all this, right? So it's just sitting there and you're trying to say, okay, what, okay, how do I see this? So let me say this. Let me explain this. When I came up with this um, discussion piece, I want you guys to understand this. The holidays don't cause abuse. Okay, I said during the holidays. Keep that in mind. It doesn't cause the abuse. What it does is it intensifies the existing patterns that were already there. So if you have abuse on a regular basis in the home, maybe you should shy away from holidays. That might be something you might want to think about doing. Well, why can't we have fun? I want to have fun. I I but is it really fun being cussed out in front of family members? And then sometimes family members be like, "Oh, that ain't nothing." They always do that. Is that how we need to look at it? They always do that. This is the norm. Every time we come, I want to just have a good time. Can y'all not argue? Can you stop hollering at him? Can you stop complaining about her? Can we just have a good time? Why not just stay at home? See, we don't want to stay at home because we like kind of love the drama, right? So we're going to be there. Now, I want to be there. This is family. I love my family. I want to be around my family. But your family is toxic. It's toxic. So you're telling me you love toxicity. That's what you're telling me, right? You love all the cussing out. And then what bothers me, this is me, you do it around the kids. So there's no respect to the kids. You cuss her out, you call her out of her name. You do the same thing. You cuss him out and call him out of his name, call talking up under your clothes in front of everybody because you got a little bit of, you had a little extra in your eggnog and you kept picking up that cup. And people thinking you enjoying yourself with the eggnog. And the more you swig or the more you sip, put that little pinky out. Oh, wait, let me do it. And you laughing with everybody, and people are watching how you're turning into this person. Hello. Okay, got you. I got you. And look, you do. Yeah, child. And then you start getting louder and start getting louder because you got a little bit of everything in you right now. Because what's in that egg now ain't just one liquor, it's several altogether. I just want to have a good time. This is the time we need to just let go. You stand up there cussing out your husband. Talk about how bad of a husband he is. Why he didn't buy you that brand new Cadillac. He could afford it. That fur coat. He could afford it. I looked at our bank account. Our bank account looked good. Now this is her being mean to him. And she picks up that cup again. Cause see, she don't want the glass, because then the glass will show that that's not eggnog. She wants the cup. And she's doing that. And the more she's doing it, she's licking her lip. And then she started that talking. And she's talking about everything. She ain't leaving nothing out. And before you know it, he's saying something like, keep on talking now. I'm trying to be nice in front of company, family here. And she keep on talking. And before you know it, now let's keep in mind, he drinking too. Now he got a little bit of swig going on too. So they at each other now. And the kids are standing around like they used to it, but it bothers them because they want this to be the holidays. They don't want all this extra stuff going on. Right? So they sitting around looking like, uh-oh, here we go. And then they're gonna do this in front of all our cousins, and we do this every year. And the kids get tired of it. Or they'll ask and say, can we go somewhere else and have the holidays? Do we have to have it here at the house? Since when we at home, that's when y'all, act the fool. But then they act the fool when they go anywhere else. And they do it only during the holidays. They don't do it on a regular basis. The drinking is something they don't do. They think that they need to let it out, let it all go during the holidays. Ruin everybody's holiday. That's when they want to get drunk and fight. It's crazy, right? So those are just examples of things we deal with when it comes to holidays and domestic violence, right? So now I gave you a scenario of people, coming together and at a holiday party with the family and drinking. Now, there might be one person that just want to have a good time. Like, baby, do we have to do it this time? I don't want us to do this. And this person, this is another scenario from the one we just talked about. So this one is just one spouse is just like irritable, just fussing and doing the same thing they always do because they're naturally this way, right? So the other one is basically saying, can we keep the peace? Can we keep this? Can we keep this? Can we do this at another time? Do we have to argue now? Do you have to be upset now? You know, let us let the kids enjoy themselves. Let grandma and grandpa, hang out with the kids. Don't, because what happens is, on this scenario, the grandparent has to grab the children, okay, pack them up, get their presents, and take them over to their house. Because mom and dad is acting a fool in front of everybody. So to keep the kids safe, they grab the kids and they leave. They go. We'll come back when y'all are doing better or whatever, which I think in a sense is dangerous, but I mean, that's what some people do. Just grab the kids. Let's go. Let's take the holidays over to grandma and grandpa house, or to one of your auntie's house, or somewhere else, right? We're just not going to do it here because this is dangerous. Also, let's keep in mind, when I'm talking about this, maybe I should have said it like this. This is when the time, this is the time when abuse is hidden. Okay. Um, Smiling and, everybody's being nice and all that. When she's about to explode inside, because prior to everybody coming over, there was a fight, right? I'm going to use her, and I'm not necessarily saying that the husband always beats on the wife. It goes both ways, but I'm going to use it this way because it's more common. So he had already slammed her up against the wall a couple times already. The kids heard it, but they were in their rooms, but they knew what was going on. He didn't hit her in her face or anything like he probably normally does because family's here. But he did twist her arm a little bit, so she's kind of she's kind of holding her arm differently, and she's trying to play it off because she's in the kitchen. She's got to do all the things that need to be done. So she's got to have her arms and her hands to move around. So she's got to play it off that he already twisted her arm and slammed her against the wall. So she's got to play it off. And her back might be hurting, right? So she plays it off by getting one of maybe her nephew to pull the turkey out the oven. I'm just giving you this scenario. Just look. Stay with me. Stay with me. So she plays it off by getting the nephew or one of the kids. Her kids are smaller, so they can pull it out. So she'd get one of her nephew. Can you pull this out the stove for me? I'm gonna go get this over here. She's making all kinds of excuses because she's really hurting like hell. She's hurting. But she can't do anything about it. So she keeps smiling and laughing and asking about the dogs and the cats and how's school going. She's doing all this when all the time she's hurting, right? Um, Also, he know he's done what he's done, but he's playing it off very well. He's smiling and laughing and talking about the job and asking his brother-in-law how's everything going at his job or his business. He's talking to grandpa now. He's talking to her dad now, talking about when the next time we're going hunting or fishing. I can't wait to go with you. This year it's going to be this. He's talking all nice and sweet, and baby, you need me to help you. And she's looking at him like, no, I got it. Because she got to play it off. She got to keep that pretty smile on her face. Everything's good. Everything's good, right? Um, and then when it's time for the gift wrapping or the gift opening, oh, he's just laying it so sweet out on her. Baby, I just thought about you on everything. I'm hoping you love these gifts I gave you. Oh, you're the love of my life, and I couldn't love no one. Each and every time we have this holiday, I'm so much more in love with you. Now, just imagine what I just told you just happened. Okay? But he loves her to death because he got to keep up the facade just as much as she do. She hides behind smiles. He hides behind all this googly goggly talking about how great everything is, right? So so keep that in mind, right? So great scenario, right? So, forms of abuse that spike during the holidays. What type of abuse happens? Now, I just told you that the physical abuse just took place, right? Most likely, a lot of verbal abuse was already done, and that's how it got to the physical. Um, let's talk about making someone feel guilty about something, right? Let's talk about the ideal that there's okay, threats have been already made. But in this scenario, threat has been made, it has been executed in physical because he's already grabbed her, twisted her arm, and threw her up against the wall, probably slammed her head, and she's trying to play it off. Um, so there was some emotional abuse already, you know. And then let's talk about humiliation, humiliating her, maybe in front of the kids. Say for instance, for this scenario, she was cooking, okay, and he didn't like what she cooked. One of the dishes that she cooked, he didn't want it on the list of things that they were going to do for the holidays, right? So he gets mad and throws it on the floor. And how do you think he humiliates her? He takes her by the back of her neck and pushes her down on the floor and make her get it up. Now keep in mind, company hasn't come, family hasn't come in yet. This is prior to that. But the kids saw. We can say, well, the kids are used to it. No, we can't, because no matter how you look at it, humiliation is humiliation, no matter who sees it. If it's just you and him, it's humiliation. You humiliated that person, right? Let's talk about financial abuse. Telling them exactly what they can spend during the holidays. And you better not go one penny over. And if you go under, I need that back. Let me say that again. You better not go one penny over. Mhm. And if you have any left over, I want that back. Think about that. Now, say you had plans, okay, say during this time, because it's the holidays, you had plans to go with your girlfriends, to go out and have a good time with your girlfriends. And he had already said that he was going to babysit for you. He said, go have a good time. Don't worry about everything. I got the kids. We're going to eat popcorn and watch a movie. And then an hour later, now this is like after work and everybody's getting settled in and you're about to go take a bath and get ready to go on your little shindig with your friends. And then an hour later, he comes in there and he says, you know what? I changed my mind. I'm not going to keep the kids. And you really don't need to go anywhere. You really don't need to go anywhere. So I'm going to let you know you're not going. Somebody has to be here with our kids. That's your job. You need to be here with the kids. Sabotaging her plans. She can't go anywhere. Right? Those are the things that happen. Okay? Then you love to talk to your friends during that time also. Because keep in mind, he's controlling, he's manipulative, he's abusive. You already said you wanted to go somewhere with your friends. So you're on the phone telling your friends that now you can't go. He's standing around listening to your conversation because he wants to know, how dare you tell somebody that I said you can't go anywhere? So how would they know she couldn't go if she wouldn't have called them? So he's watching the phone. And another thing is, he doesn't want you around your family. He really see, the family is only allowed around her when he's around. Like, say you love to go, like Shamir says, she loves to go visit her grandparents, right? Okay, she go visits her grandparents. Well, he doesn't think you should go visit anybody. The only way that you're going to do anything is if everybody comes to our house. Because, see, I can see everything you do if you're right here at our house. See, I can't watch you all the time when you're around other people out of my control. See, if you're at grandma's house or grandpa's house, you can walk around, you can go for a walk with your sister down the street, you can do all that. Well, I can't control you. If you're here in the house with me and we're all here together, I can watch what you're doing. And if you decide that you want to walk, take a walk around the block with your sisters or anything, or get out of my sight, that's not happening because I'm going to come up with an excuse why you need to stay at the house. Well, if you leave, I'm leaving, I'm going with the boys, I'm going to go hang out with your brother. So if you leave, there's nobody going to be here with the kids. So you don't need to leave. So you don't need to go for no walk. You don't need to do all that. You hear where the control is? As long as he's controlling the environment that you're in, he's fine. But if you was to go over to grandma's house or your mom's house and meet with your sisters and stuff, oh no, that cannot happen. Oh no, we're not doing that. Now I'm gonna talk a little bit more about a little bit another thing that happens. And let's see, how can I say this? We don't think of it like that. This thing we're about to talk about right now, we don't think about it like that, but it is. Let's talk about reproductive coercion, is what it's called. Let me say that again. Reproductive coercion. What is that? That is when they control when you have a baby. Yeah. And there's also sexual abuse. Sometimes we get in the mindset of thinking a lot of women want a lot of kids. And let me tell you why I say that. Lots of times we don't know what's going on at home, right? And everybody doesn't want to get an AB. Okay. So if there is some reproductive coercion going on and sexual abuse is going on in that marriage, because for some reason people equate being married means that every time I say I want, you give. No, that's not how it works. But some people believe that in marriages. I can't, I don't have anything to do with anybody who believes that. Well, sometimes she doesn't want to, and it happens anyway, and she becomes pregnant. I remember when I was little and we lived in the projects, and we remember this couple. She was married to a preacher. I think they were from Ethiopia. And she was married to a preacher. And it seems like for us that every time he beat her, because we could hear the beatings, she would get pregnant. I think she wound up with about 7 kids. So in our minds, well, in the minds of most of the women, my mom and all the rest of them, they said, dog, every time he beats her, she winds up pregnant. Her kids were like right behind each other. I'm using that as an example because that's what happens. I'm not saying that's exactly what happened to her, but it just seemed like it. The timeline seemed like it. So the form of abuse that happens is the sexual abuse, and she's probably not ready to have any kids, but he gets her pregnant. He doesn't believe in AB, and she's not going to. So here comes the baby. Excuse me, one behind the other. Those are forms of abuse that can happen during the holidays, right? It's crazy, but it is. So let's talk about some of the things that our friends and family should be watching out for when it comes to abusive relationships. Let me say this. I want to say it in the way so that people I don't want you guys to say, turn the, don't look, don't say nothing. Because let me say something, when a person is in an abusive situation, they know when they're tired. Not you. They know when they're tired. And hopefully and prayerfully, that is before it's too late. Okay, that I will say that much. So let's talk about warning signs that we as families and friends pay attention to when the abuse is not out there, like it's secretly going on, right? You don't see it, but you might have your discernment can, kind of like, okay, something else is going on here. And if you're like me, you pay attention to everything. I do. I pay attention to a lot. And I'll go, this sounds abusive. This sounds like they're very abusive of each other. And I'll keep that to myself. I don't, because you don't want to interfere with anybody's thing, what's going on with them. But you do have to keep in mind these things. A sudden withdrawal or missed gatherings, when people stop coming to little, when people stop coming to gatherings that they've always been coming to, right? That's one thing. The nervousness, the anxiety, um, excuses, when a person is acting a fool, when you guys are out and about and you're doing these parties and you bring your husband with you. Say, let's give the scenario a work party, right? Holiday work party, and he hadn't put down one cup, right? Every time you turn around, he got another one in his hand. He drinking, yeah, and they steady. He watching the trays go around and he's picking one up off the tray, and he's already got loud, okay, and you're trying to quiet him down, and it ain't working, right? And you're standing back, your friends are standing back like, he really, he's acting kind of weird. Why is he acting like that? And you're standing up there and you're trying to explain. He always gets like that. He's so crazy. Don't pay attention to him. He's all right. Hey, honey, quit drinking. Hey, honey, no more. I think that's enough. You've had enough. And before you know it, he start berating her, cussing her out, right? In front of everybody. She's totally embarrassed now. Embarrassed now. Another thing, it says these are the things that we have to watch out for. Um, um, Remember, I told you that the lady got slammed up against the wall and her arm twisted, right? If you go to hug them and they tense up, or you can see a look on their face, you can feel that they're in pain. Those are signs that we have to watch out for. When it comes to makeup, and the makeup doesn't look like her normal makeup, right? She's putting a little bit more on than normal. And you can see up under it that there's some darkness under it and it wasn't there before, right? And you're paying attention to maybe something swollen, right? Maybe a cut lip. And you're like, man, what happened to your lip? Oh, I fell or I bit it too hard. I was biting down on this apple and I missed my overbite, hit it, and oh my God, but it's swollen. Look what happened to it. Clean it all off, knowing that that's not what it is. And if you see enough bruises, you know doggone well that's not what it is. But okay, and you leaving it alone, but you're paying attention to it, right? Um, Another thing, having your phone on you, on all the time, and checking it to see, like you're in a conversation, right? You're talking to people, everybody's having a good time, and every time you turn around, you're watching them look down at their phone, looking down at their phone. Why? Why? What are you looking at your phone for? We're talking. We're in conversation. Everybody else's phone is up. She's the only one who got her phone in her hand. You look over and say, the kids all right? Yeah, the kids are fine. She's nervous, right? The kids are fine. Either she's waiting for him to call her or she's waiting to see a text from him so she can answer it. Okay, you're looking kind of nervous. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. And she's steady holding that phone in her hand. She's scared to turn it down because she don't want him to not think that she didn't answer the phone. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And this is why I say this. I think these phones are one of the most dangerous things that we carry around with us, especially if you're in an abusive relationship. And that goes again both ways. These phones literally get people killed. And my thing is, I don't understand that. Because if I communicate with people all the time, it doesn't necessarily mean I'm communicating with them talking about anything that's inappropriate for a woman who's married. Everybody is not this connection we have with these phones and cheating. It doesn't always what it is. It's not. But we get this inundated message or messages that this phone is getting people is making people cheat. No, no. I wish we would just stop. It's the common sense stuff. Remember, I told you 2026, make it make sense. Make it make sense. I don't think if I married somebody and okay, so if I married somebody, right? And those signs started to show and they showed prior to the marriage, why did I marry him? If he was clowning about my phone and who I'm talking to, who I'm laughing with, if he was doing that during the doggone dating part, I am not about to let you put no damn ring on my finger because I already know in my mind this is going to get worse. I understand people lie. I get that. But everybody don't do it. So we have this scenario that everybody cheats and everybody's doing this and everybody, when reality is it's not like that. There's a lot of people who've never cheated and never used their phone to cheat. And I know everybody's not like me. My son has to tell me every now and then, Mama, everybody don't think like you. Everybody don't do stuff like you. I get that. But I believe common sense should prevail. Common sense. Before you do it, think about it. Does it make sense? Does it make sense for me to cuss him out? Does it make sense for me to humiliate him? Does it make sense for me to look through his phone? Does it make sense for him to look through my phone? My husband has my phone all the time. I have his phone all the time. We we don't have time. I'm saying make it make sense. If he was cheating prior to y'all getting together, you had issues when you were dating, do you think those issues disappeared? If he cheated on you while you guys were in a serious relationship, not married, but want to get married, and he cheats, what makes you think it's going to disappear once he puts that ring on your finger? Do you think you've got a prize? I got the ring. Look, I got the ring. But he's still messing with the lady down the street. He never stopped messing with her. I'm just, look, make it make sense. Just make it make sense. That's all I'm asking. Make it make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. And it's not about, well, nobody might not want you. Maybe no, it's not even about that. I have male friends. that I talk to. My husband talks to him because I do business with these people. I interact with these people. We do things together. We network together. So I don't worry about, I talk to their girlfriends, their wives. We don't, we are so far beyond that immatureness that it doesn't make any sense that we're still dealing with that. You looking in my phone and who's this, who's that, you said you gave her 4 likes. So what? If he gave her likes, so what? Really? This is what we're upset about? This is what you're about to cuss me out about? This is what you're about to humiliate me over somebody giving somebody some likes? Do y'all see how we have taken relationships and turned them into media circuses unnecessarily? You can't control what other people do unless you're abusive. And you're a bully and a coward. That's the only way you can control somebody. And I promise you, the warning signs were already there in the relationship when you were dating. They were there. You just was so excited to have somebody. I know couples that were abusive to each other prior to the marriage and still got married. Yeah, they got married. Make that make sense. Well, he's going to get better. He never got better. And she never left. He beat her down to the point where he had her exactly where he wanted her. After a while, he didn't have to beat her because she was just where she was, where he needed her to be. Right? So there's no need for me to keep beating her. You know, I got her where I need her. I don't have to beat her anymore. I don't have to humiliate her no more. I don't have to do all those things anymore because I got her now. She ain't going nowhere. I've heard men say that. Oh, she ain't going nowhere. I don't know what you're talking to her for. She ain't going nowhere. And sometimes it's not fear anymore. It's actually giving up. She's not scared anymore. He beat that all out of her. He's got her where he doesn't have to worry about her leaving him because she's not going anywhere. Because he beat that into her. She's not going nowhere. And everybody's put together escape plans for her to leave him. And she's not going nowhere. So they grow old together until one of them pass away. Yeah, that's what happens in a lot of relationships. He beats her to the point where she doesn't want to leave. It's not out of fear. She's just gotten used to it. And that's the sad part. And those are the things you need to look at when you have family and friends that are going through that. Another one is not being able to speak. You're in a conversation with someone, and every time somebody tries to have a conversation with you, he or she interrupts and speaks for you. That can start in the dating period. That's the dating period. It can start. You're going home for the holidays to the family. Mom might have picked up on it. Dad might kind of like the guy, you know, because you don't tell what he's doing to you, to your dad, because you're afraid of what your dad might do to him. This is in the dating phase. Or you don't talk to it with your brother because you're afraid what your brother might do or brothers are going to do to him. So you keep it to yourself. But mom knows, because mom always knows. And you're dating. And he gets to the Christmas, the holidays, and he puts on this big performance, and he gets down on his knees, and he asks for your hand in marriage in front of the whole family. Yeah. Oh, I know she's going to say yes. I just want to do this. And you, slowly, already thinking of all the stuff you've already been through with him, instead of saying no, you say yes, right? You have this big, beautiful wedding because that's what you always wanted, this fairy tale wedding. And your wedding night, he beats you. Yeah, he beats you on your wedding night. Now y'all 15 years in, two kids, and he hadn't stopped beating you. But he's promised you several times that he's going to stop, but he never stops. Yeah. These are the things you watch out with your friends. The signs, a warning sign. Him speaking up for her, putting on this big facade that he really wants to love her and all this, when reality is, like I said, in the dating stage, he had already started the abuse. If he gets angry with you during the dating stage and he calls you out of your name, you better pay attention to that. And can I say something too? And this is not, I don't want you to think I'm trying to say this to blame it on the victim, but I want to say this. When you know, and this is if you know this person, if you've been with this person long enough and you know the warning signs of him about to do the abuse or uh, act on the abuse, why are you still talking? Okay, maybe that didn't come out right. What is the purpose of you continually talking to him when you know he's already at 99? He went from 0 to 99. Why are you still talking to him? What is the point of the conversation continually when he's already went from 0 to 99? Why are you still talking? Why are you begging him? Why are you questioning him? Why are you egging it on? Because that's what you're doing. Instead of just being quiet or maybe walking away, what is the purpose of you continually talking to him and to get him to that 100? Why? I've always was curious about that. Why are you still talking? Why are you still in his presence? Why by now, if you cannot leave, because everybody's situation is different, everybody can't jump up and grab the kids and leave. Okay, say you're in the scenario where you can't do that. Why not just walk in your room, either lock the door, go in the bathroom and lock the door, go somewhere where you guys are not in the same area and lock yourself in? until you feel that you can leave? Why is it that you have to fight with him? I know there's a lot of women out there that can match a man's beat down. I know it, I know it, I know it. But why? See, this is what I'm trying to say. Make this make sense. Why are you egging it on? Why are you begging with him? Why? Well, Scott, I just wanted to know why you're acting like this. Scott, I know I love you. I just don't understand why you keep What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Stop talking. Stop talking. Because it's not working. See, if you were able to, if you had the expertise in calming him down and bringing him back to zero, oh, fine, talk. But if you don't have that, and when he hits that 100 and he starts welling on you, you don't have that. You don't have that power to calm him down, right? So why do you keep talking? And I know this might sound harsh. You guys, I want you to understand this. Please understand this. I am very serious right now. Understand this. I am not saying that you being the person who's being the victim of it. I don't like to call it victims, survivors of something so terrible, right? I'm saying sometimes we can help ourselves, right? We can get to the point where we can prevent certain things by just not saying anything. If he's going off, let him go off. Don't quit asking him all these 500 questions while he's going. He's just like little by little, he's going there. Why are you talking to him? Why? Stop talking. Let him. And see, sometimes when you're not feeding the fire, what happens with a fire? It goes out. When he realizes he's not getting you there like he wants to get you there. Because I really believe there's some crazy people out there just love to hear people cry and love to hear people suffering. I believe there's some sociopathic people, male and female, who love to hear people cry and in pain. It does something to them. But he wouldn't know how to do that if you don't let him have that much power over you, right? So don't keep talking. Don't keep talking. Let him say whatever it is he needs to say. If he wants to call you all kinds of names, you responding to it is not going to change the fact that he's talking to you like that. Because if it worked, he wouldn't keep doing it. Obviously, it doesn't work. That's why he keeps fighting and hurting you. I'm sorry, I don't want to sound um like I'm being mean. I'm just trying to make sense of stuff that we can avoid ourselves if we're in those situations by just being quiet. Because let me tell you something, somebody, they can't argue by themselves because it starts to make them look crazy, right? So why give them all that energy? Let them argue by themselves. Let them look stupid by arguing by themselves. Okay, and just walk away. And even if they follow you, it doesn't mean that you got to keep talking to them because they're following you. Just learn how to be quiet, especially if it's to the point where it could save your life. Just try it. Even when you're arguing with somebody, we don't always And that's male or female. I'm saying this because I'm using the male being the dominant person in this scenario. Women are just as assertive and as aggressive and intimidating and bullyish as men are. Sometimes they're worse. What I'm saying is, do not give them feedback, because that feedback is feeding them. Let me say that again. Do not give them the feedback, because the word feed is the first word you're looking at. You're feeding the anger by giving them feedback. Oh, it might be cute if you're arguing and you're getting smart with each other. I don't even want to say it's cute. I argue and I'll say something smart. But I know where I'll go with it, because I can do a 0 to 100 too. So I know I'm going to shut up for a moment. Not that I'm afraid or anything like that, because sometimes I know to shut up because I don't have that problem here. I live in the woods. You already know. You talking about hiding the body? We talk about that all the time. We tease each other all the time. Hiding the body? I can hide the body. So I don't worry about any of that. I'm joking, you guys, because we don't argue like that. But when you're in a relationship and that's the type of way you argue, don't keep trying to prove that you're the woman. You can do this. I can go there. I can do. Don't do that. Not if he wants to fight you. Not when it gets physical. It's not necessary. It's not. It's not necessary to go back and forth with that person. It's not. Let them talk to themselves. Walk away. Why do you have to be up under him when he's doing all that? Why? And then let's not forget, the kids are listening to this. The kids are listening to the way he's demeaning you, how he's talking about you on a personal level, things that you and him should only have conversations about. He's so mad, he's bringing out everything. And you're going back and forth with him. Well, you didn't say that last night. You thought you. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to make or how to get you to understand the danger you put yourself in when you do that. Because you survived the other times, but that very last time, it could be the time when you don't survive and you're going back and forth with each other. Instead of you being quiet, you kept talking. It kept irritating him. He hit 100 and he took it to a whole nother level. You wouldn't be quiet. That goes for males and females. Just let them argue with themselves. Because the more you go back and forth with that person, the more it's revving them inside. They're burning. Like I said, you can feed the fire. Keep putting paper on the fire, it gets bigger and bigger, right? Putting fuel on the fire. Instead of you not putting fuel on the fire, eventually he or she's going to look stupid sitting there talking to themselves, because that's what's going to be happening. I'm just saying. And I know everybody's situation is different. Abuse is abuse. I don't care how you wrap up in a bow. I don't care how you categorize it. It's abuse. If you're afraid to sleep in your house, it's abuse. Because he goes from 0 to 100 over the most stupidest shit. I'm cursing. It's abuse. If you have to sleep in a room with the kids, it's abuse. If you can't even stay and be peaceful in your own home, it's abuse. There's no other way of looking at that. Oh, he's just having a bad day. No, it's abuse. No, I'm sorry. It's abuse. It's abuse. I'm going to share the story with you because we're talking about this. There was a friend of my friend that she was married and she was in a very abusive relationship and she finally got out. They were in the process of selling the home. They sold the home, but there was things that was left around in the garage, like weight benches, weights, and stuff like that, and like knickknacks. And the person who was buying the house contacted her, the young lady, and contacted her husband, her ex-husband, because she had got divorced, to come and get the stuff out of the garage if they, wanted it. Well, they didn't know that they were not together. They were clueless that they were not together. I mean, hey, they just bought the house. They had no idea of the volatile relationship and the abuse that was going on between these two people. So she shows up and she shows up with someone to help her move the stuff. Not a boyfriend, no, nothing like that. She just showed up with someone to help her move her stuff. He shows up at the same time. He saw the guy. He had words with him, accusing him, and there was no need for the conversation to even take place. Again, the conversation didn't need to take place because they were divorced and they had all went their separate ways. He was not happy of the divorce, but she knew how dangerous it was. So the young man was trying to move the stuff, and the ex-husband picked up a weight and hit him with the weight. And then he commenced to beating her with the weight. The young man wound up in the hospital on life support. The family decided to pull the plug. She wound up on life support too. She stayed in a coma. And at the time, she was pregnant. She wound up in a coma, and the coma gave birth to her baby. But she finally died. So he wound up going to prison for the murder of two people and attempted murder of the baby. I'm quite sure she never thought it would get to that. And the people who bought the house didn't know what was going on. Nobody didn't tell them all of this was taking place, that they weren't supposed to be in the same room and all. They didn't know that. And they didn't know that they were coming over around the same time. They didn't know that. But two lives are gone because of domestic violence. And he accused her of dating this guy. And she wasn't even dating him, he was just helping her move. This is why you pay attention to the person you're dating. If that sucker is abusive during the dating scene, and then you turn around and marry him, and the abuse gets worse, do you know who's the most race of and sex that's that die at the hands of their spouse or significant other? The black woman. The black woman. Miss Finley, yeah, I got you. I got you. I got you. We are so desperate to be with somebody, anybody will do. And we're so in this mindset, and it's something we do all the time. I can fix him. No, you can't. He needs to be where all the broke people at. He's broken. Don't fix him. Tell him to go get healed. When he get healed, then he can talk to you. All that other stuff is not necessary. And this goes for women too, because we go into these relationships. These men are trying to treat us with decency and stuff, and we're doing everything we can not to be treated like we want to be treated, like we claim we want to be treated. We have this fantasy in our minds that a man is supposed to do the red carpet, come on a white horse, and put us in a mansion. And y'all, that's fantasy. For all you young women out there who's dealing with guys who don't still live at home with their mama, okay, don't have any money, okay, ain't got nothing going, y'all scratching up together to go to McDonald's. He don't have a car. And if he have a car, he barely keeps it running, or he keeps the tags correct on him. I mean, all of these things are warning signs. He's not there for you. Men, when you talk about dating somebody or going with, have your stuff together, because when you don't have your stuff together, you're just opening up a can of worms for all this other stuff. Because after a while, she ain't gonna want to be with you because you're not offering anything. I'm not saying we're not the prize. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying know what the prize entails, because a lot of us don't know ourselves. And we think everybody is supposed to come to our rescue and treat us like the world will stop if we stop. When reality is we all broke and torn up inside. We have emotional crisis going on, and we want everybody else to cover it up with money and fame. I mean, all this extra stuff that becomes burdens on us because we living in this fantasy world about relationships. And everybody relationship is not bad. I'm not saying that, but there are some out there that should have never been together. There's people who should have never been together from the get-go. The warning signs were there, and we ignored them because we wanted to have a man. And then we're upset because they don't meet our standards after we've been with them. We get mad at them. He's never been nobody but what he said he was. So what are you angry about? Again, make it make sense. What are you mad about? If when you dealt with him, when you first met him, he wasn't about nothing. He hasn't been he hasn't been about nothing. And you've been in this marriage for 5 years now. And who don't turn around in them 5 years and have a baby. Because now you got a baby with this person that ain't about nothing. We don't think, women, we got to start thinking. We got to start thinking about ourselves. And I'm not saying it to sound arrogant or cocky or, oh, we're this, we're that. No, I'm saying when it comes down to you, how much worth you see in yourself, that you will settle for anything. We got to come to the point where it's not even, how do I want to say this? And I don't want you guys to think that I'm saying this to um, put us in our places or anything like that. I'm just saying, let's be real. If I was not married, I know a famous football player ain't going to look at me. Okay? I just know that. I am not their type, right? I'm probably not their race either. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So they're not going to look at me. Even if I was younger, they're not going to look at me because I'm not their type. I'm trying to tell you, everybody is not going to marry a basketball player, a famous businessman, you're not going to do it. So you got to take Tom, Dick, or Harry that's out there. But Tom, Dick, and Harry needs to have their stuff together. That's all. Because you can always grow with somebody. I'm not saying you can't grow with them, but if that sucker ain't even showed you a plan of getting better at his situation, once he get with you, he ain't talking about his plan anymore. You need to cut ties because you're about to pay for everything, and he's about to be sitting at home with the what's the name in his hand. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I kind of went on my tangent. I'm sorry. I went on my tangent. I probably. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like I'd say to my dogs, I'm sorry. Okay. All right. Um. So these are the reasons why maybe the victims stay quiet. Fear of ruining the holidays. They don't want to ruin the holidays. I went way off on my tangent. I apologize. For children or family, they didn't want to, mess it up, so they allow that person to do whatever they want. The financial dependence. Let me talk about this. 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 Now, every woman out here that's actually listening to me. And this is no dig on whoever you're married to, whoever you're dating. Look in my face, have your own money. Let me say that again. Have your own money or means to get to any financial assets you have. I don't care if you're married or not. Let me say that again because I want y'all to look at my eyes. Have your own money, whether you're dating or married in 2026. It took them years to let us get our own bank account. 1973 is when they allowed women to have their own bank account. There is no excuse for you to not have your own money. Now, do not tell me we share bank accounts. Do not tell me, well, we do everything together. He knows what I spend. Do not tell me that. I don't care. I don't care. Have your own money. If it's $5, have your own money. Never put yourself in a position where if things get rough, you can't take care of you and your kids. Well, that's easier said than done. I know it is. I know it is. I never said it was easy. I just said do it. In 2026, if you've never had one before, if you never had one before, Make 2026 the year that you start having your own money. I don't care if you're a housewife, I don't care whatever you are, it doesn't matter. Have your own money. Because things will get hard in those type of relationships. Okay? Things will get hard and you're having to go around and beg everybody to help you when you don't have to. If you can figure out everything else you do in your life, you can figure out how to keep money on yourself or wherever. Are there ways to do it? Hell yeah, there's plenty of ways to keep money on yourself where your partner doesn't know you have money. But it's up to you. You figure it out. I can't figure it out for you. You figure it out. Because one thing I'm not going to do is put anybody in danger from the things that I'm saying. You take your own, do your own thing, whatever works for you. I'm just talking. I'm suggesting these things to you. Okay? I'm suggesting. Have your own money. If you're proud to be a housewife and you love staying at home and you love doing all that stuff, fine. Have your own money. I know I'm a very I'm an independent person to a certain extent. I'm independent to a certain extent because I'm married. But my independence has always been in me. I've struggled. I've gone through some things. But I've always been able to make sure that I'm able to maintain for myself. Because when I met my husband, I wasn't at home with mom. I was in my own place, working a job, having my own stuff. So he didn't come pick me up from my mom's house. Okay. I was in my own stuff. So it's kind of hard for me not to maintain myself. It's hard for me to say, oh, I'm gonna let him do everything for me. I want him to do everything for me. It could never be me. He needs to do this. No. Mm-mm. Yeah, I'm not doing it. That could never be me. Just I'm not built that way. Maybe some women are. I'm not built that way. I'm not. My mom, I was raised by a single woman, a single parent. And my mom taught us to take care of ourselves, no matter what. And my two sisters that are left, they're married. Oh, I have my baby sister who's also married. And I'm married. And my sister who passed away, she was married. So what I'm saying is, have your own. No matter what it is, have your own. That fantasy world of having a husband and wearing, I look, I make aprons and I wear aprons, right? Having a little apron on and walking around the kitchen and baby, have your own. I'm just saying like that. I'm putting it out there like that. Have your own. We're talking about financial dependence because that's one of the things that victims may stay silent, not being able to have their own money. So they stay because they don't have the money to do anything else with. Shame or embarrassment could be another reason why people, don't want to, go anywhere. Cultural or religious pressure. Sometimes that has a lot to do. We worried about what everybody else is doing and how everybody else sees us. If I leave him, if she leaves me, I'm going to be ostracized by the family and the church and all. That shouldn't even be a factor because it's about your safety. and about your well-being. That should be the priority, not about what everybody else is doing, what everybody else says. That's why religion just, oh, sometimes I don't want to go that route. We are so indoctrinated and so brainwashed behind these religions that it literally kills us. Literally. Okay. Hope that things will be different after the holidays. That's almost like hoping that it get better after he marries me. Almost in the same. I will say that one again. Hope that things will be different after the holidays. Hope that things will get different when we get married. That's how we fool ourselves into marrying these abusive sociopaths because we think it's going to get better. And it's a fantasy. And I'm not knocking any woman who believes that. Look, I'm not knocking you if you believe in your mind and in your heart that he's going to be different once he marry you. That's not how abuse works. It doesn't work like that, y'all. Because one thing about a man, from my experience, being married, men don't change like we change. We can change like that. We can change. When I say change, I'm not talking about I'm talking about change for the better. We see our ways. Sometimes we see our ways and like, you know what? I don't want to keep doing this. I need to work on this. Men are not like that. Especially an abusive man. He's not going to change. He's already showed you who he was. The red flags were waving all over the place. And you know what you did with the red flags? You pulled them down and put them in the back. You took them out the ground. Everywhere you were going with this man, every piece, every journey that you was on with him had red flags, and you just pulled them up and moved them out the way. Now you're in a marriage. You don't want to get divorced because you don't want to look like it's failure, right? So you're not going to get a divorce. You're going to keep on being in this crazy, stupid marriage, abusive, diabolical, evil marriage, because you don't want it to look like you failed. You don't want it to look like you picked the wrong person or you chose the wrong person. That should be irrelevant when it comes to you living that next day after a worse beating you've gotten. That all should be irrelevant. That should be irrelevant. I'm just saying. You shouldn't be worried about what everybody else think about it. You should be worried about how you're going to survive this next beating that he's about to put on you. But I understand. I understand. I understand. Truly, I understand. So let's talk now how to safely support someone experiencing abuse. Now, maybe the stuff that I just told y'all was just things I think about in my head that I know I'm just talking about it. I'm not saying these. I gave you a true story about abuse. I have more, but I'm not going to share those with you. That one I wanted to share with you for a reason, because that young lady is no longer here, and she had two children because she already had one and she was pregnant with her second one. So she has two children that have survived, and she's not even been able to. She won't have grandchildren. She won't have any of those things. Okay, she's gone over something she didn't even do wrong about. She was smart enough to get out of it, right? She was smart enough to get out of it. But one thing brought her back and took her away from here. You have to be more diligent and pay attention to the people that you have these relationships with. You have to. Because I think it's worse now than it was before, because now people are not seeking mental health anymore like they need to. And then also, lots of times because we don't have that availability, so people suffer in silence from mental health issues that should have been addressed long time ago. Again, men don't change like we do. Sometimes it takes them longer, and sometimes the longer it takes them, the worse it gets. And that's why you, as the woman, need to have enough discernment and wisdom within yourself to say, this is not where I want to be. There is no way, shape, form, or fashion could I wake up every day in misery unless I'm causing my own misery. I'm doing it to myself. I'm saying me doing it to myself. But when you have somebody else doing it to you, that's a whole different ballgame. And that's why you have to have strength within yourself to say, I'm not going to do it. There's another story. Actually, this story is a public story. It actually was on one of those, oh gosh, I don't know if it was an ID or what. But this story is about this beautiful black woman. She was married to her husband. She had a husband and they had 2 children. And he would videotape, he would have his son videotape the beatings he was giving his wife. Let me say that again so you can understand what I'm saying. He would have his son tape him beating her. And the way he got caught was one day when she went, he actually knew what time she left to go to work. He knew exactly what time she needed to get home. He had her clocked down to the minute of everything she ever did. Until one day she went to work. Her co-worker or her boss, somebody was noticing something different about her. And she's the one who helped her get out of her situation. He wound up going to jail for the rest of his life because of the videotapes. Yeah, that was when videotapes were big. He filmed all of the beatings. And she worked and had a full-time job. I can't remember whether he worked. I can't remember his situation. I think he was prior military. But yeah, he's in jail. In prison, not in jail, but in prison. Because he didn't get rid of those tapes. And they went to the house and did a search and found every one of the tapes. And it showed on every one of the tapes what he was doing to her. This is why I'm saying pay attention to the persons that we want to call love. A person doesn't have to, sometimes people don't even have to tell you that they're going to be mean to you. They just do it. If a person is telling you stuff, saying stuff to you in front of everybody else that normally you don't need to be hearing or he needs to be talking about in front of other people, that's a sign. And he passes off as a joke, that's a sign. That's a sign. That is what you call verbal abuse. And then low key, when you get home, he takes it to a whole nother level. I look at dating somebody and being married to them differently. I do understand in a marriage, you can walk away from a marriage just like you can walk away from a relationship. But it's a little bit harder. Let me tell you why. Because of the legality of the marriage. But when you can date somebody, you don't have to stay in that. You stay in it because you want to stay in it. You don't have to stay in that. You have no obligation to that person at all. I don't care how much you put everything together, you're not legally binding. And I hear people talk about how that's not important. That's a whole nother conversation we're gonna have about how important it is to be legally binded. Bounded, excuse me, bounded to somebody, bonded to somebody, especially if you live in a community property state. I'll leave that alone. We'll talk about that at a later date. It's very important to have the papers. Okay. Um, but when you're single and you're just dating somebody, what makes you think you got to stay there and put up with all that? You staying because you want to stay, because you think he's gonna change, because you think you can make him change. You're not looking for a husband. You're looking for a son, somebody you can mold. A man doesn't change overnight. A man's not built that way. It takes him a minute. So, um, and maybe you've had a different experience. I don't know, but I've seen it too many times. They don't change overnight, especially if they evil. They're not going to change overnight. They're comfortable. They have control. A man loves control. So if he can have you scared and shaking in your boots every time he comes around, and you fragile and you anxious when he comes around, oh, he's loving that. And he's going to do all he can to make sure you're feeling that way all the time because he has you under control. I'm just saying. So, how to safely support someone who's in that situation, right? You listen without judgment, okay? You listen to them. You don't have to judge them. You listen. Believe them. Know that it's true, right? Don't pressure them to leave. Don't pressure them to leave. Because most of the time, lots of times, that's why I go back to having your own financial means to leave. When you're ready to leave, you have the money. You don't have to bother nobody. You might need to call your parents or call somebody close to you so they know if they need to, come get you if you don't have a car, but you have the money to do everything with. I wouldn't call an Uber. I wouldn't do any of that. If they want to come get you, whatever way that you can get out that house, get out. Let me just put it to you like that. If you have a way of getting out, get out. Okay? But leave on your own accord. Okay? And don't leave in a body bag. I'm just saying, don't stick around till they come with the body bags. Okay? I'm going to say that much. Right? Help to create a safety plan. Yeah. He doesn't need to know about your safety plan. Don't accidentally get mad and he goes off and you start talking. That's why I said sometimes you got to be quiet. Because sometimes we women, we have a tendency, we're going to get back at him. So we're going to tell him. That's why I already got a bank account and I'm ready to go and leave you. He looking at you like, what did you just say? Be quiet. Stop talking. Because some of us don't know how to stop talking because we're trying to get back at him because of what he's doing. So we're going to keep on and keep on and keep on till we got to get back at him. Be quiet. And don't tell everybody everything you're doing. Keep everybody out your business when it comes to stuff like that, especially when you're trying to leave, right? Um, Offer practical help, rides, safe contact, and resources. That's what a true good friend will show you or give you. Okay? They're not going to talk. They're not going to say anything. They're not going to say anything that's going to hurt you, okay, to anybody. They're not going to bring all that up. Be careful of your friends. Be careful of having friends with your husband or your boyfriend. Be careful with those friends. Those friends you do not talk to. Let me say that again. Those friends you do not tell all your business to. Because again, they're both for your friends. They're not your friends you've had prior to you being with him. You met these people after you guys got together. Because they will betray you if you tell too much to them. You keep your friends separate from your friends with him. Okay? I don't care how close you think you are to them. You met them after you got with him. You cannot, I will advise you that not to tell those friends anything. And especially if they were his friends prior to you guys getting together and now y'all all friends together. Be very careful because I guaranteed you it will get back to him. You told the wrong people. Quit being so trusting of everybody that's in your circle, especially when they already know that he's abusing you, or vice versa. Be careful. Be very, very careful about that circle you in. Okay? Even if they're asking you questions, don't. Everything's fine. Yeah, everything's fine. You don't have to tell them anything because they will definitely take it back to him or her. So be careful. That's all I'm saying. Be careful. Goes for relatives too. Relatives too. Relatives will do the same thing. Oh yeah. Relatives will do the same thing. Not just your friends. Your relatives will do the same thing. They'll go back and tell them. I'm just saying. They'll do the same thing. Now, now, if you have friends that are going through that, do these things for them. Listen without judging them. Believe them when they talk about it, because I'm quite sure you're going to be paying attention enough to see the bruises. You're gonna know what to look for. I mean, domestic violence is an old hack, and I hate to say it like that. It's an old hack. It's been around for centuries. For the beginning of time, abuse has been around. So what I'm saying is, you know the signs. Okay. Don't pressure them to leave, but always mm, try to convince them to keep their own financial means best way you can. If you're that best friend that they have to give the money to hold on to for just in case, be that friend. Yeah, be that friend. Help them create a safety plan, right? Um, Offer them. I wouldn't advise them coming to your house. I wouldn't advise them staying at your house because he already knows that you're their best friend, that you have a best friend, that you are the best friend. In the first place he's going to come is to you. He's going to come to you probably before he goes to the family. So you don't hide them at your house. You send them somewhere else. Okay. Um, like I said, make sure they have financial means. If you have to keep the money yourself for them, keep the money for them. Send them somewhere else. Don't let them be at your house. Don't even let him have any inkling idea that they're even been around your house. Okay. Um, Make sure you have them somewhere else to go. That's where the safety plan comes in. You don't want to be, um, you could be her direct contact, but you don't need to be his if you're her friend. Now, if you're not, you're going to, what's going to happen is going to happen, but you don't do that. You wouldn't be considered a friend if you allow those things to happen, right? Um, let them do it on their own time. Let me say that again. Let them leave on their own time. Just hope that it's not too late for them, because that's all you can do. That's all you can do for them. And it's hard to say that because you want things to get better and you want them to be safe, but that's all you can do for a person who's not ready to leave. Okay? That's all you can do is to be there for them, support them. You're not you're not going along with it. You just don't want them to do something that they're not ready to do, and then when they do it, there's consequences to it. So you have to allow them to do their own thing. You have to allow them to make that decision on their own, whether or not they're ready to leave. Okay? And sometimes, in some relationships, not all, but sometimes, some relationships, the abuse kind of dies down and goes away. I don't know. Not in all of them, but sometimes they do. But does that mean you should stay with them? That's up to you. I'm just saying, that's up to you as that person. Okay? And remember, support doesn't mean you're forcing them in a decision to make a decision. It's just basically about you keeping the door open for them to be able to help them. Okay? But if you know that this person is volatile, do not have that person at your house. Okay? Don't have that person at your house, that friend at your house, because that's going to be the first place he's going to come. Now, so let's talk about a safety plan during the holidays. Yeah, I know we've been on here for a minute, but I want to get this because I think it's important. So keep emergency numbers saved under a disguised name, like mm, y'all do with when you're got them phones and them phones doing what they do, and you got your name. Maybelline is really George. Okay, basically is what I'm trying to say. Identify safe rooms or exit. Remember, I told you about instead of standing there arguing with them, go to a safe place. If you can't leave the home right then and there, go to a safe place in the house. Quit arguing with them. Quit going back and forth with them. Take your behind somewhere and sit down for a minute, right? Until he calms down. Um, Pack a small emergency bag. Keep one up under the bed, maybe in the top of the closet, depends on where you live. Maybe under the sink in the bathroom. Maybe in the kids' room, because most of the time we don't uh, we don't go into our kids' room that often. I mean, not that we don't, but the kids' room is going to be the kids' room. So you take that bag, probably put it up in the top of their closet or up under their shoes or whatever you have, boxes that you have down in the bottom. Um, because he uses the garage a lot, if you have a garage, don't put it in the garage because he'll search and find it. Um, Arrange a code word with trusted people. Again, be careful of his friends and your friends. I wouldn't be talking to them about anything. But if you have your own personal friends, separate from y'all friends together, I would definitely get one of them and make sure we have all that in place. Um, trust your intuition. That's why I said women, usually we're very in tune to ourselves. We usually are. Not all of us, but a lot of us are in tune to ourselves, so we pay attention to stuff. Tension escalates everything. So get yourself out of a tense situation. Tension, when you going back and forth with them, it's just raising it. It's just going up there. You saying what you got to say, he's saying what he got to say, back and forth, bringing up stuff, all that, all that. You already know. I told you, you already has him. You have him at 99. You already went from 0 to 99. That's where he's at, and you're steady going back and forth. Get to a safe place in your home. Or if you have the opportunity to walk out the door, don't sit there and argue with him. Walk out the door. See, the door is over there. Walk out it. I'm just saying. And I'm saying it not that I'm really like telling you to walk out the door, but I'm just saying, do you see how close you are to the door? Right? And everything that is happening can lead you to the door. But again, goes back to you leaving when you're ready to leave. Maybe you're not ready to go to that door and walk out for good. Maybe you, when you're ready. My job is not to force you when you're ready, but don't make it too late. That's all. Okay? Don't make it late. Okay? Now, this is a real good one. Real good one. And I talk about it all the time. Children and holiday trauma. Children can sense tension when we don't even know they can, or we're not even paying attention. Children can tell when you're not yourself. And they might not even witness the abuse, but they can tell how you're reacting to things. They pay attention to that. Your children are definitely on it. They're going to pay attention to everything you do, right? Um, keep in mind, just in case there is holiday violence, that's what it's called, holiday violence, right? And the kids saw that. We don't realize the long-term scars that we leave on our children when they witness regular, even not even the holiday abuse, when everyday abuse. You know, I was talking about when I was talking about the subject matter, we were talking about us fighting other women and stuff, and how you got your baby on your hip and you're actually getting in a fight with somebody, or you have kids around and they watching two women fighting like beasts in the streets. Remember I told you that? That's long term emotional scars. And it can come out as they get older in so many different ways. But we don't care. We don't care. We don't care because if we cared, we wouldn't have our kids in those situations. Okay? So don't tell me you love your child and you're not getting them out of harm's way. Don't give me that spiel that you love your child and you want the I'll do everything for my kid, but you have them in the middle of someone beating the hell out of you. And look, hold up, hold up. Y'all know I'm blunt, and I'm not saying that to hurt anybody. who is a victim or a survivor. I'm saying when you say you love your child, how are you loving your child when you're putting him in this position and you're allowing them to see all this, because that child is your responsibility. So if you want that child safe, you don't put them in harm's way. In no situation, you don't put them in harm's way. So if you're fighting somebody, or if you're in a domestic violence situation, you should be telling those kids to get out of there, or telling the kids, go in the room, do something, but do not let them see all of this happening to you. That's what I'm saying. And that's why I say, don't do the arguing back and forth. Do not let him get to 100 on you by you egging it on. You have a right to speak up for yourself. I'm not saying not to speak up for yourself, but I'm saying when you're in those moments, if you guys are just arguing and you know it's not going to go there, speak up for yourself. But if you know he's already violent and he's already been violent towards you, why stand there and argue with him? Why stand there and argue with him? That don't make any sense. He's already proven to you what he can do. So why are you standing there arguing with him? I'm not afraid of him. I'm not telling you to be afraid of him. I'm telling you to use common sense. That's all. Just use common sense. Just use common sense. That's all. Modeling safety and truth matters. Okay. Um, More than tradition does. So if there's a need for you guys not to do holidays, then don't do holidays. Is basically what it's saying. If it's going to cause all of this dominoes effect and somebody gets hurt, then leave the holidays where they belong. Don't do them. If you know people get worse around that time of the year with the abuse, don't engage. Don't do it. Stay away from it. Say you're going to do something different, because you already know he's going to go from 0 to 100, or she's going to go from 0 to 100. All she got to do is get a little holiday drink in her, or him. So avoid all that. Because again, this is about the children, right? Right? It's not about you. It's about the children and how it's going to affect them long term. So that's why I said what I said earlier about loving your child. How much do you really love your child? That you have them in a situation where there's a possibility that you might get hurt and they're watching this, right? Okay. Protecting peace is protecting children. Say that again. Protecting peace is protecting children. Yeah, yeah. They deserve that because they didn't ask to come into your mess. And I'm saying your mess in a sense of not blaming you, but understanding that they had nothing to do with this. It's your situation, but they're caught up in it because you had them and they're here. They got to do something, right? And they got to mean something. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. So let's talk a little bit about the community responsibility. Oh my God, we almost at 10 o'clock. I'm going to have to, I didn't realize this was this. Oh, okay. We're going to do this real quick. I didn't realize it was that late. So community responsibility, check in with your loved ones, gently and privately. Call them and check on them. If you know that there's some abuse going on, you know it. Call and check on them, make sure they're all right, right? Normalize conversations about domestic violence. Make it a conversation. We just had a whole show on domestic violence. Normalize it. Talk about it. Okay? The more you learn, the better off it is. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. I did a whole show on my other show about domestic violence. I do it, I usually try to do it every year because it's very dear to me. Okay? Share resources publicly. Share resources. Talk about it. Get it out. Right? Um, um, Create a safe place, faith, community, and family settings. Create those places where people are comfortable with talking about it. Um, you might want to start your own small organization, getting women together who has been through domestic violence, who survivors of domestic violence, or even going through it. Give them. Sometimes people just want to feel like they're worthy, because one thing happens in domestic violence is the verbal abuse, the breaking down of a person's um, personality, their self esteem, because that's the first thing they go after. They have to break you down first. And women feel like they're not worthy. Men feel like they're not worthy. A man feels probably worse than a woman in a sense when it comes to the emotional and the verbal abuse, because he's a man. How dare me allow a woman to do this to me? So they probably feel a little bit different and more downer than you would, right? Or it could be equal. But I know a man's pride is the reason why they don't talk. A lot of them won't talk about it, right? Or relate it to, oh, she's just having a bad day. No, no, she's not just having a bad day, because she's had many a bad days. Maybe like majority of the marriage was bad days. You know what I'm saying? When she first time she hit you was a bad day, right? She was feeling bad, right? Hasn't changed. Okay. Um, so maybe you want to start a small group of people that you can talk to. You guys, the information about domestic violence and how to train people and talk to people about it, it's all over the internet. There's no excuse why you do not know about domestic violence. I don't get it if you don't. There's no excuse why you don't know about domestic violence. And I'm not talking about just the action, the physical part of it. I'm talking about the whole thing, right? You can study it. There's different trainings you can take. Things change all the time, so keep up on it. And if you have a small group of people who have somebody to talk to, because lots of times women just need somebody to reassure them, or men too need somebody to reassure them that they're trying to make the right decision, but they can't at this minute, right? They want to feel like somebody is there, right? Because sometimes people don't have family, they don't have anybody, and that's how they like you. They like to isolate you. That's one of the things they love doing. Cut you off from your family and friends. And the only friends you have is their friends. That's why I said be careful who you talk to and who you tell things to. Because if he doesn't allow you to have friends, or she doesn't want you to have friends, and the only friends you have is the friends y'all have together, I wouldn't tell them a thing. I'll tell the mailman first. I'll tell the Amazon man first, or woman, before I tell his friends. I'm just saying, be careful, because they'll go back and tell everything you said to him, and you don't want that, right? So let's talk resources. So, the National Domestic Violence Hotline. I'm going to put this number, instead of redoing journal prompts today, I'm going to skip that today, and I'm going to put the National Domestic Violence number in here. So, the National I can't even spell. hotline number is 1-800-799-SAFE. And 799 is going to be 7233. So it's 1-800-799-7233. Okay, so I'm putting it out here. So share this number with other people. Do not keep this number to yourself. Or you can text start to. This is how you do it. Text the word start to 8878. Text start 87. Excuse me, I didn't even say that right. You can text start, the word start, to 8878, right? It's 24/7 and it's confidential support. Nobody won't know you call. Understand that help exists even during the holidays, right? And understand this, healing is possible. You can get through this. I've talked to a lot of domestic violence survivors. They've gotten through it. And they got out of those situations. And I want to tell you this too, and I talked about it on my other show. You guys watch your young boys and girls. Watch them in these so-called relationships. Pay attention to them. Okay? Let me say that again. If you have teenagers call themselves in love, watch those relationships too. Okay? Because our kids don't tell us everything. Teenage violence is just as bad as adult violence. Teenage domestic violence is just as bad. Okay? It's just as bad. So pay attention to your daughters and your sons. Okay? It's not cute. Okay? It's far from cute to hear him call her a bitch or a what they call it 304s. It's not cute for him to be disrespectful to her or her being disrespectful to him. It's not cute. Nothing cute about that. Be careful. Pay attention to everything they do. Okay? So, if holidays don't feel safe, you're not failing. Okay? If holidays don't feel like they should this year, don't do them. Okay? You deserve peace, protection, okay? And your dignity any time of the year. Don't allow it to happen just because it's the holidays. Okay? So, you guys, I hope that you guys learned something today. I hope my stories didn't go off on the tangent, but I just wanted to share that with you. I thought this would be a great conversation to have during the holidays. I hope you guys, um, I hope none of you guys are watching me or listening to me right now are in those situations. And if you know somebody who's in that situation, share this information with them, please. And that number again, if you cannot see it, is 1-800-799-7233. Or text START, STAR, to 8878. Let me say that again. Text START START to 8878. Give that number out to somebody you might know. Text it to them and tell them, hey, here's a number that you may want to call when you get a chance. You know, help people. You don't, if you want to do anything nice this holidays, help people in that way. If you can't do anything else and you know situations like this is going on, definitely give them that number. You don't know who life you're saving. Okay? So don't feel bad if you feel like you haven't done anything for anybody. This right here will save a life. Okay? So do not hesitate to give that number to anybody that you want to give it to and tell them to share it. And any woman out there listening at the sound of my voice, you are loved and you deserve love. But start loving yourself first. Okay? Start with you first. Love yourself first. And all the love that you want to come to you will come. But if you don't love yourself, it's going to be hard to love somebody else. And if you're out there doing the abuse, male or female, get you some help before it's too late. If you have anger issues, get you some help before it's too late. Do that for yourself. Because just as much as you want to be here, right? There's a lot of people who want you here. Because I'm quite sure there's a lot of people who believe in you. But you got to get help. And you have to understand people are not your punching bag. And nobody has to put up with you putting your hands on them. Yeah, they don't have to at all. So I want to say this, we might not do a, let's see, we might not do a show Wednesday. We might not do a show Wednesday. So you can't clip my wings here will not do a show Wednesday. And I'm trying to figure out, let me look at my calendar if we're going to do. Okay, so because that's Christmas Eve. So we're not going to do Christmas Eve. So let's see. The next one would be that Wednesday, and we're not going to do that Wednesday. So it will be, oh, nope, let me take that back. We won't do that Wednesday, and let me see, the next Saturday is on the 27th. Okay, so we will do the 27th, which is next Saturday, but we won't do Wednesday. Next Wednesday because it's Christmas Eve. So I hope I left you guys with a lot here. I hope you learned something from what I'm telling you. I hope this information is going to help somebody. I just want to help somebody. Okay. I come off harsh, and I tell you guys that I don't. I'm. It's hard for me to pull punches. I don't pull punches because I told you my head, it has to make sense to me, and if it don't make sense, I get crazy. I get crazy, like, make it make sense. So that is our mantra or our tagline for 2026. Make it make sense. Before you do something, make sure it makes sense to you before you do it. Before you hit somebody, before you cuss somebody out, unless they really deserve it. No. But before you do certain things in your life, make it make sense. Say to yourself, does this make sense? Nah, I ain't gonna do it. Or, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Make it make sense. That's all. Okay? All right. So you guys have a great evening and bye-bye.